Let's talk about some retention secrets. It's not enough just to hire someone and hope they end up working for you for a very long time. You make maximum money by retaining your workers. Once you bring someone on board and you train them and you get them working and they're getting traffic for you and they're making products for you and they're creating links for you and they're building your list for you and they're doing all these things that make your business grow without you. This is the key to all this stuff. This is what we've been talking about. That's why we're doing this stuff, right? To get a bunch of people to do work for us so we can scale and manage that and make money without doing the work, and that the business will grow week to week without us. Well, in order to make maximum money, you need to retain your workers. This is just like it is for any company with real employees. Once they bring someone on board and they train them, they get them used to working with the team and the communication tools and the management process, and they're working the model and they're working on the business. They don't want to lose them. Google doesn't want to lose employees to Apple and to Microsoft and to Yahoo and any other company. They want to retain their workers. That's why Google, when they started up, they were actually paying engineers twice as much, double of what the going market rate was in many cases for salaries. They wanted to retain workers. That's why they built that crazy cafeteria that you've probably heard about, the Googleplex, where they provide free meals all day to anyone that works for the company and all these other crazy benefits with foosball tables and all this fun stuff, because they want it to be a workplace that people would want to work and stay at. Well, you have to kind of think of that as well for your outsourced workers. They're people. They're doing hard work. They're working for wages and a salary to make money and to support their livelihood. You need to do things to help retain them so they'll keep working at the job for you. So let's talk about some ways to do that. Way number one, plain and simple, this is almost like just obvious. Get to know each person as a friend. Sincerely care about them and their family, and of course treat them that way, and keep up with their non-work lives. Find out if they have kids, if they're married, what their hobbies are, if they like to go to soccer games, or they like to watch movies over their computer, or that's the big thing with my Filipino guys. They hack and download the latest movies even when they're just out in the theater here, and they all gather around the computer and watch it. But whatever the case is, get to know them, really become their friends, really care about them, and it will return to you tenfold. If you just hire someone, you only know them by name, and you just fire off commands to them, it's not going to work out very well. That person's only going to go so long to working for you only if they're only going to continue if they're just desperate. If they're not and they have other options, like most talented, hardworking people do, they're going to go where it makes them happy, where it's fun, where it's challenging, where they can contribute. We've already talked about this a bit. Of course, where the money's good, so they can have a nice life. Just like you want a good life, making a lot of money from your business, they want a good life, making decent money from their job, doing something they enjoy. So become their friends, and you won't be able not to anyways if you have regular communication. You really get to know people, and it's fun to become friends with these people that are halfway around the world and work for you. Recognize them on a regular basis. I like to use the mantra raise and praise. Those are the two things you got to keep in mind, raises and praising them. So constantly, when they do something for you and it's great work, really let them know. Say, hey, Mark or Sarah, this is really impressive writing that you did. Wow, you did such an amazing job researching those keywords and writing the article. I really, really appreciate it. Keep up the great work. And I love what you did here with this. They love that. They want you to point out what they're doing really, really well. They want to get praise because it makes them feel good. And you know what that does in turn? And I'm not talking about just butt kissing and just, BS here. I'm talking about sincerity. When they do something really well, make sure to recognize it. And that's just going to encourage them to do more good work, because that's what we all want to feel good about ourselves and, of course, what we're doing for a living and with our time. And that's why you do it. It's obvious. Reward them. And I don't mean just with money. Buy them gifts. Buy them, all kinds of little things. Buy them an iPod. Send them an iPod or an iTunes gift card or something they can use. And you'd be surprised. Those little gestures go a long way. And sometimes you can buy them bigger gifts, and it can go a long way. Let me give you an example of that. When I started last year of setting up an office in the Philippines, and I think as I mentioned it, people know, I'm building a video game company there. And so I needed an office there so the team could work together, because for a lot of that video game development, they need to be working hand in hand with people on complicated engineering things and animation and other things. Well, what I did was, when I started the team, I pretty much started out with four core members of that team that were, heavy-duty programmers and could do all kinds of heavy-duty stuff for the gaming stuff. And they started working really hard and doing so well that I just knew that it was just going to make me so much money. It's obvious. Even if I didn't have them working on the video game stuff, I could have them work on anything else, and they would do a good job. And so I knew that these guys that I'd hired and built that little team, I knew that they'd probably be not only just friends, but valuable members of a company of mine, of this venture of mine. And, by the way, if you're an entrepreneur and like me and you're a serial entrepreneur, if you want to get into all kinds of different things, the great thing is when you get these workers working for you, you can move them from one little company or project to another, and they can work on other stuff or both stuff. So it's very flexible, so it's powerful to have skilled workers. Anyways, so I knew these guys were awesome in that I did a great job of finding really talented people, and I wanted to retain them and really let them know that I appreciated the work they'd already done for me. So I bought all four of them MacBook laptops for about $900 each. And what's funny is we started developing some iPhone applications. We're going to be doing iPhone games. And to develop on the iPhone platform, you pretty much have to have a Mac to do it. Well, these guys were PC users. And so they had come to me and they said, hey, do you think you could buy us Macs? Or actually, they said, do you think you could buy us a Mac computer? They were talking about one. And for us to use and borrow, and you could just deduct the money from our salary each month for a year or so until it's paid for. And so I thought, you know what, I don't want to do that. So I actually bought them each their own MacBook because I knew they'd be more productive if they had their own. And I knew I'd buy some great loyalty with them and they would really appreciate it. And so they just freaked out about it, It was a $900 cost for each of them. Obviously, that's not cheap, but the investment that I was willing to make in them because I know how important they are going to be to the company really was a very, very small thing to do. And they just, of course, how do you think they feel towards me? They think I'm the greatest person ever because no one does that, And I do other little things for them. Like I'll send them, a little bit of extra money and I'll say, hey, this Friday, why don't you guys have a party? Have a barbecue, Here's an extra, $50 to buy, and that buys a ton of food there. Here's an extra $50 I just PayPal'd. Someone go and buy a bunch of food, have your family come over, have a little barbecue, and let's celebrate this milestone and this success. And, by the way, as your company and you and your business do little things like you do a little product launch or you get a new ebook done or you set up a new site or you do something where a little bit of money starts coming in or you do some kind of affiliate marketing campaign that brings in some money, celebrate it with your workers. Say, hey, as a company, we had a really big day today. I'm sending you an extra, $30. Go have dinner. Go have an awesome dinner with your wife or with your husband tonight, and join in our success. We're over here celebrating as well. We want you to celebrate there. These little things just go a long way, and it really doesn't cost that much money. You don't have to buy them a laptop like I did. I just wanted to give that, rare example. You can buy them a $100 iPod. You can buy them all kinds of stuff. But gifts are psychologically very, very powerful, oftentimes beyond money, because it's this thing oftentimes that they never would have bought themselves because they can't justify it, like a $150 iPod. Many of those people in the Philippines, when that amount of money pays for their rent for a couple of months or more, depending on their situation, they're not going to buy an iPod, yet they would love to have an iPod. So buying them gifts is great. And of course, random bonuses. If you do something where you do really well and you have a successful product launch or you make some money, give them little bonuses, even if it's just $50. It's above and beyond what they're getting every month. Like I've already been saying this whole time, my father taught me, always do more than is expected of you. Everyone else treats these workers and these people just paying the bare minimum they agree to. They don't get anything else because they feel they don't have to. Well, why do you think the people that treat workers a little bit better and give them a little bit more money here and there get 10 times better work out of them? It's obvious. So remember to let them contribute their own ideas. Constantly ask for their opinion. This is very important. Obviously, you have a vision as an entrepreneur about certain things that you want to do and maybe how a design will look, how a product will work, how this will be set up. You got to use a little leeway to allow people to contribute their own ideas. And you'll be surprised. A lot of these people, especially in the Philippines, college educated, there's wicked smart people. They are super smart. And a lot of times they'll have ideas that are better than yours and will end up making you more money than what you had in mind. But asking for their opinion and valuing their own independent thoughts is very, very critical to a relationship with these workers. No one wants to work at a job or at a task when they're just a robot, or they're just like being a robot slave going through the motions of following steps 1 through 20. They need to be able to use their own creativity and they need to be challenged. Otherwise, they won't be happy. And you have to know that. Most people that hire these types of workers throw these step-by-step instructions at them, leaving nothing by chance to use their brain. And so it's not a challenge at all. It's just them going through the motions and repeating it. It's like working in a sweatshop, pulling beads together or sewing sneakers together, and they're just doing it over and over all day. So ask for their opinion. It really goes a long way and makes people feel really, really good. Keep them in the loop of how the company is doing. Now, you don't need to give exact details of what your sales are and everything else, but you have to keep in mind this. This is another big secret. Most people don't realize this. You constantly want to be telling them, hey, company had a really good month last month. We're growing. We're getting bigger than we ever have. Just wanted to let you know, and we appreciate your contributions. We're so glad that you're part of our team because it makes, you've been such a big part of the success of the company, and just wanted you to know that. Why this is psychologically important, of course, is because job stability is important to anyone that's their livelihood is based on a job. If you get the exclusivity agreement with them where they will agree only to work for you, where basically all their income comes from you, they're kind of scared, whether they admit it or not, that next month you may say, hey, we don't have any more work for you. Because that's the life of a freelance worker anyways. They go from project to project many times, and they never know when the money's going to come back. So job stability is key, and so it's great in any way if you can express and communicate that the business is doing well. It just makes them feel so much better about their job, and that will really help retain them for the long term. Last but not least, give them a raise. Listen, when people do a really good job and are kicking butt for you, give them more money. You don't have to go crazy, but give them more money. If you hired them at $300 a month, start giving them $400 a month. I mean, you'll know what they're producing for your business. If they're making some products for you and driving traffic for you, it's nothing to pay them another $100 a month if they're bringing you a couple $1,000s a month in new sales because of the traffic they're doing. So make sure to spread the wealth, so to speak. When you start making more money, throw more money at your workers. You're really helping them out and their families. It's kind of the right thing to do anyways, and you can feel good about that. But give them a raise because they deserve it. They've worked hard. They're making you money. Help them make more money. And that, of course, is the ultimate for retaining them long term. So become their friend, recognize and praise them on a regular basis, reward them, ask for their opinion, let them contribute, communicate on an ongoing basis of how the company's doing. That, of course, supplies their job. And then, of course, give them regular raises and bonuses, and that'll go a long way to retaining people.